Well, no secret to anybody, a driving force on university campus and really across America today are social networking sites, and most notably Facebook. It is on people's smartphones, tablets, laptops, virtually everywhere. And as we know by now, the company born on a college campus is now making history, not only by its $5 billion initial public offering, but by its $100 billion estimated value. But what that IPO represents is a very interesting concept. You see, Facebook is actually redefining what the community is relative to capital. As one of the 845 million active users of Facebook, you might think that you're a Facebook customer. But if you look at the $100 billion valuation on Facebook, you, me, and the other 845 million folks are actually the capital. Facebook's IPO is proving, maybe for the first time ever, that the community of people, any given community, has actual monetary value, even if the community doesn't receive the money. Let's bring in a tech perspective on this. Andrew Rasiej is the founder of Personal Democracy Media and a senior tech advisor at the Sunlight Foundation. Nancy Scola is a freelance writer and technology and politics correspondent for the Atlantic. And Andrew, I was sort of looking at the $100 billion, and I've been traveling around, and you get to meet all these people, and I realize how much I am learning and how much new information I get every time I'm in a room with 10 people, 100 people, whatever it is. And the realization for me is that the community is the capital. But then the question is, well, what's the community worth? Well, then I looked at the Facebook IPO and I said, oh, well, the community's worth about $100 billion, but the community, if it is the capital, is not getting any of that money. Is there an opportunity here for us to reconsider the capital structure in a way that actually reflects where the enterprise value is to reflect the value of the community itself?
Well, let's look at the fact that Facebook is collecting massive amounts of data, and data and privacy are in a mortal death match. The theory is that the more data that's out there, the better decisions that can be made, the better choices that can be made, the more efficient our lives can be. And on the other hand, people are concerned about the privacy, which, depending upon the generation you're in, may be different. But as more and more data is being collected, the quality of the data is getting better, but the privacy is getting less and less. And there's a growing meme in the public, what I would call the internet public, that the fact that their data is being mined may not be to their best benefit or for them financially as important as it could be.
I guess, but the reason I wanted to produce this particular television segment was not to have a privacy debate, but it was, Nancy, because of the specific realization that the community right now is not valued in the capital structure. So right now the community is treated as either the customer or as the product. But what Facebook appears to be proving is that, because Facebook has nothing of value other than all the content of the 845 million users that they're now selling to Wall Street for $100 billion, and then the users don't get the money. And that's not a moral statement. What I'm saying is, if I didn't have a community as an author and a host, I would not have capital. And I wonder, am I wrong? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And do you agree or disagree with that?
Sure. I mean, the lead-in for this segment was a question of whether or not we're social pawns in this whole dynamic between us and Facebook. And it's an interesting question.
No. The lead-in, that wasn't the lead-in. That wasn't the lead-in. The lead-in was, is the community the capital? That's the only reason I'm doing this on television right now.
Sure.
Honestly,
I guess
I kid you. It was my idea. I swear.
Okay. I think that the interesting thing is to consider right now is that we need to renegotiate the contract between us and Facebook. When Facebook came around, but in 2005 or 2006, it really did solve a problem. You had all these people distributed on the internet. There was no easy way for us to interact with the people that we went to high school with, our relatives that live across the country or across the world. So it really did provide a service, and we were very eager to get that service because it was something we didn't have in the early, in the sort of early 2000s, and we jumped on without thinking very much about the social contract that exists between us and Facebook. So now we're looking at it, and now there are these hard numbers coming in. We're realizing how rich Mark Zuckerberg and some other folks are getting off our data, that it's time to take a step back and rethink that contract. But I think it's it is worth pointing out that we are getting something of value. There's the network aspects and a technology that they were able to build to net people together in a way that hadn't been done before.
All right, fair enough. Your thoughts on the community as capital, Andrew?
Well, so Nancy's right. There's a new kind of currency that exists, which is a contract of facility, of trust between the users and Facebook. And as long as Facebook is providing that utility and creating the value of the being connected to it and through it to others is useful, people will in effect use the service and not really necessarily mind the fact that their data is being collected and turned into financial capital, as long as they are getting a value back that in their minds is equal. The question is whether or not that balance can be continued, because you can't really separate the privacy, because the privacy is really like the gold standard that supports the value of that capital that Facebook is creating. And if you don't look at the privacy aspect, then again, people's personal data is very important to them, and if they get the sense that they're being spied on or being mined for that data and they're not getting compensated for it, or if for some reason a sense of trust and openness is broken in their relationship to Facebook, they will leave. They will go elsewhere. It's not like they are locked in that they have to use Facebook. There are other platforms and tools that do similar things, not maybe as well as Facebook does right now, but over time may actually do it better. And so there's going to eventually be a relationship where the internet public will say, we want to know what data you're collecting on us. We want to have a right to say which data we'll let you collect on us. And if we want to turn it off, we want to be able to turn it off. We don't want you to be the only one to decide whether to turn it on or not. And one last thing, there's a precedent for this, Dylan, which is Nielsen has been making money mining data from people watching televisions for decades, and they get paid for that data collection. So it's not unheard of to see a company collecting data and paying its members. But the question here is not Facebook isn't paying them cash; it's paying them with a service.
Right, and I guess from my perspective, the difference between, let's say, Nielsen or whatever, and I fully appreciate the privacy issues, is that if you do not have a community, then you do not have an asset.
Correct.
And what we're realizing is that the community is the asset, and yet in the capital structure of our current business modeling, we assign zero enterprise value to the community. We say that the community is worthless, and that the community has no enterprise value, and that if I, Dylan Ratigan, can get you to watch my TV show and come to my website and read my book, that I can take all of your money, and that that community is worthless, that I can basically just extract from them. And now what I'm arguing is that there's a need for a new business model that reflects the fact that the robustness and strength of the community itself is a capital value, but that the capital markets themselves as a business structure don't reflect any value over it. We'll continue the conversation. I've run the clock, guys. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Nancy.